Having a lot of money is everybody's dream. Travel, leisure, luxurious houses, expensive gadgets, dining out on fancy restaurants, money can buy almost anything. There's plenty of ways to get money. Most people work hard to earn it. For some, they gamble and rely on luck to win. The list goes on, but one thing is for sure, the road from rags to riches is not easy, and it will never be easy. So when this mother noticed something strange with her daughter's bag, she couldn't help but worry. When she unzipped the backpack to take a peek inside, she was shocked by what she saw. Kids love to sneak in toys and treats to school, so this mother wouldn't have been surprised if her daughter had taken something that didn't belong in school. After all, her daughter was just a little girl. They are mischievous little creatures, and they don't always realize that by carrying so much weight in their backpacks, they're really putting too much pressure on their backs. But when this mother noticed how bulky her daughter's bag was becoming, she had to take a look inside. Considering her daughter wasn't allowed to carry too much weight, she was hoping to remove whatever her daughter had hidden inside, but she did not expect what was in store for her. Addie was a lovely young lady who had more to live compared to an average 7-year-old kid. She had been to countless doctor's appointments, surgeries, and physical therapies to correct her condition. She had a genetic disorder called Larsen syndrome, which only affects 1 in 1,000 people. For some kids, this condition might result in a hammer toe. Still, more often than not, other visible deformities would significantly affect their mobility and growth. Her parents were devastated the first time they heard the diagnosis. There was nothing anyone could have said to her mom that would have made them feel better, and yet this mother knew she needed to stay healthy for her Addie. She was not about to let her go on this journey all by herself, and thanks to their optimism in life, it ended up paying off. But they still had a long road ahead of them, and they wouldn't find out until much later in life. Fortunately, Addie was healthy and completely functional. She could move around just like any other kid, and even though her legs still looked slightly bent, little Addie didn't seem really bothered by it. Those legs allowed her to move around just as much as she pleased. Everything they'd done so far to ensure Addie would have a healthy life seemed to work. The many surgeries and countless hours of individual therapy helped her manage her condition, and now she was enjoying every minute of her freedom. Larsen syndrome is no walk in the park. This is ironic, as all these parents wanted to do was take a pleasant stroll at the park, or take her swimming, or roller skating. She seemed to be headed in the right direction, but no one could imagine what life had in store for this family. Addie had spent almost her entire life at Texas Scottish Rite Hospital. Whether she was being treated for her condition, getting surgery, or physical therapy sessions. So whenever she was out and about, she'd make the most of it by running all over the place, going to school and playing with her friends. But no one would have suspected that this sweet little kid was hiding a major secret. To say that kids are mysterious little beings is an understatement. Their parents had spent every waking moment by Addie's side, and yet they had no idea she'd been doing this behind their backs. She'd been hiding an important secret from her parents, and yet they were absolutely clueless about it. Addie's mom couldn't help but wonder just how she managed to pull this off. And worst of all, how did it slip right by her? Addie's parents were used to her spending most of her time at the hospital, or playing around with her school friends, like any average child. But Addie wasn't out and about just enjoying a beautiful summer day with her friends. In fact, she was far from playing. Addie's mom never suspected anything until one day she noticed her baby girl's backpack kept getting bigger and bigger, as if she'd been hiding something. One day she felt the urge to look around, but she didn't think much of it until she opened Addie's backpack. Once Addie was completely asleep one night, her mother went inside her room and fetched her backpack. She carefully unzipped her daughter's bag, and there it was, all cramped up inside Addie's pack. Piles upon piles of cash had started to spill out of Addie's backpack. How could a 7-year-old child have such a large amount of money? They couldn't help but wonder if someone had forced her into doing something illegal. They couldn't figure out how she'd managed to get so much money. But the moment Addie started telling her story, her mother couldn't help but cry. Her mother had never been so proud of her amazing little girl. I hold a sign that says, "For my birthday wish, I want to raise $8,000 for Texas Scottish Rite Hospital." Her sweet little girl had come up with this campaign all on her own. And even though she'd been through hell and back, she wanted nothing more but to help others on her birthday. Addie's story became viral, and she was able to reach more than her goal. She reached more than $20,000 worth of donations. A few days later, she received an anonymous letter and a check for $50,000 that would be put towards helping kids who struggle with health issues, just like little Addie. Her generosity touched the hearts of many. I want to give the money to the hospital for new prosthetics for other children like me, Addie said. Everyone was so impressed with the little girl's heart of gold, and many of them couldn't help but praise the parents for raising such a compassionate person, as she grew up surrounded by respect and empathy.